For Central, we'll be going over our next schedule preview of this 2020 offseason, and it will be over the Virginia Cavaliers. And this is a team that went 9-5 in the 2019 season. They were a big surprise to many, and they also made it to the ACC championship game. And yeah, certainly many people are dismissing them heading into 2020, saying that they've had too many losses and that they're a team of the past. But nonetheless, I don't expect that, and that's what we're going over here today. We're going to be going over a few players that this team will be losing, who they're going to be returning, and also going over their schedule for the first time this offseason. Starting off the games that Virginia's had since November, we start off on November 2nd when they played North Carolina on the road. And certainly with North Carolina being a team that was very improved heading into that past season, they won that game 30-31. That was a good win there for Virginia. They also had a win against Georgia Tech the following week, 33-28. They had a win against Liberty, which Liberty certainly was a team that was pretty good last season. They made it to a bowl game, so certainly that was a very good win there, 55-27. And then to finish off the season, a really good win against Virginia Tech, 39-30. And certainly, Virginia being a team that struggled with Virginia Tech in the past, that certainly was a really good win there for the Virginia Cavaliers. And yeah, moving on to the ACC championship game, obviously that was a bit of a forgettable game for Virginia fans. But Clemson won that one big time, 62-17. Yeah, Virginia had the loss there, and then they also lost in their bowl game against Florida, 28-36. But that was much closer than many people expected. So yeah, overall, great way to end the season for Virginia, other than that ACC championship game. I mean, I'm sure keeping it close with Florida was very good accomplishment for sure for Virginia last season. But yeah, between September and October, they were 5-3, and then between November and the rest of the season, this team was 4-2. So yeah, they were pretty consistent over the season with how they were. Overall record for them last season was 9-5. Moving on to returning production for Virginia, we start off when they lose their starting quarterback, Bryce Perkins. That's going to be probably their toughest loss on this team. Obviously, I think he's got a bright future in the NFL, but yeah, he had just over 3,500 yards of passing last season with 22 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. He also had right around 800 yards of rushing too, with an additional 11 touchdowns. Yeah, certainly he was a very good dual threat quarterback for this Cavaliers team, and he's led them to some good seasons. Obviously, the last couple of years, yeah, this Virginia team has surprised a lot of people. Obviously, Virginia is more known for basketball; they're not as known for football. So certainly, Bryce Perkins brought a really good football team, or he helped this team be a really good football team. They do return their second quarterback in Brennan Armstrong. It looks like he will be the starter heading into 2020, and obviously he didn't play a whole lot last season, so he didn't have all that great of stats. But they do return their top running back in Wayne Talapapa. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but yeah, he had right around 500 yards as well as 12 touchdowns. And they also lose their top wide receiver in Hassais Dubose, which that's going to be a major loss as well. He had just over 1,000 yards of offense with 6 touchdowns last season. They returned their top wide receiver in Terrell, and he had just over 800 yards too. So yeah, of course, those two wide receivers were big parts of this offense and big parts for Bryce Perkins. It'll be good that they're returning their second wide receiver there, but yeah, certainly losing their top wide receiver in Hassais Dubose will be a bit of a loss there. They do lose their third wide receiver in Joe Reed. Yeah, that one's going to be a bit of a tough loss as well. I mean, he also had a major impact on this team. He had just around 720 yards with 7 touchdowns. So yeah, Joe Reed certainly was a big impact on this team as well. They also lose their tight end and Tanner Cowley, which he had over 300 yards with a touchdown too. So yeah, they lose 3 receivers for this team, but once again, returning your top running back in Wayne will be big, and also returning Terrell, your second wide receiver, is going to be big as well. But yeah, this receiving core does take a big hit, though, heading into the 2020 season. That would probably be my biggest concern. Of course, Brennan Armstrong, we don't know whether he's that good or bad. Of course, he's not played a whole lot for this Virginia team, so yeah, of course, losing Bryce Perkins is another tough loss, but I think their quarterback situation should be fine, of course. Brennan Armstrong, we don't really know about him yet, but I guess we'll find out sooner than later. They also return their entire offensive line. That is going to be huge. That is going to be huge for Brennan Armstrong. I mean, whenever you return your entire offensive line, I mean, yeah, expect that offense to be pretty good because, yeah, obviously the offensive line, I mean, it could have been improved after last season, but yeah, it's definitely going to be one of the better ones in the ACC for sure heading into 2020, in my opinion. I mean, when you lose or return your entire offensive line, that is huge. Being able to return the entire offensive line, that is a rarity too. I think that's the first team that I've scheduled previewed so far this offseason that has returned their entire offensive line. So yeah, that's certainly a very, very big bright spot for Virginia heading into 2020. They also lose 1 defensive lineman and linebacker. That is all they lose on the defense. Those are the only 2 starters that they lose, is 1 defensive lineman and 1 linebacker. So yeah, this defense has got so much room to improve as well. So if you look past the receiving core taking a couple hits, and you also look past Bryce Perkins being, or with him graduating, I think this Virginia team has got a ton of potential heading into next season. I mean, when you return basically your entire defense, that is insane. Like, typically you'll see out of most teams, most teams lose, let's say, 4 to 5 starters on the defense. This team is only losing 2. That is well below the average. So certainly for Virginia, once again, they got a ton of potential. And that's another reason why I think Virginia is definitely overlooked. Like, I get the receiving corps taking a couple hits, but yeah, I'm telling you what, like, look at the defense, only 2 losses. So certainly Virginia's got a ton of potential heading into 2020. Could they win a better division again? Could they make it back to the ACC championship? I definitely think that's possible. Obviously, of course, we've heard over the past few years, and that division's been a mess. We've seen, I think, different teams representing that division over the past 7 years. We've had so many teams doing that, and so I think Virginia will be the first team to finally get a second appearance there in the past decade. But yeah, certainly I think Virginia, yeah, they're looking really good heading into 2020 in my opinion. If they can get that quarterback situation figured out, and if the wide receiver losses don't hurt them all that much, yeah, I think Virginia's definitely got a chance to win the division once again in 2020. Moving on to your schedule, and definitely you start off with a banger against Georgia. You got them on a neutral location. Then you got BMI. The following week should be an easy win there. You also got UConn. So yeah, you got a tough non-conference game there against Georgia, but your other 2 ones should be pretty easy. You got Clemson on the 26th on the road. Then you got North Carolina on the 3rd, also at home. Then you got Georgia Tech and Old Dominion on the road, followed by Miami and Louisville at home. In November, you got Duke on the road, as well as Pitt at home, and then you got Virginia Tech to finish off the season on the road. And here's what I'm expecting. I'll give you 4 guaranteed wins for Virginia. Really, their schedule is not all that difficult. I mean, if you look other than that Clemson game on the road, I mean, really, that Georgia game is certainly winnable. I mean, if Virginia doesn't have as bad of a team as many people are expecting, I think that they could win that game. Certainly, that would be a major upset. But with it being in a neutral location, who knows? Oh, but yeah, you got North Carolina at home. That should be a tougher game, I think. But yeah, Georgia Tech on the road. Shouldn't have to worry about that one. Miami, Louisville will be tough. Duke and Virginia Tech also could be a bit tough for games. But yeah, your record estimation will be 7-5 to 9-3 for Virginia. I expect them to be right around where they were last season. I don't expect them to decline by any means. But yeah, certainly for their quarterback situation, if Bryce Perkins, if that loss is too impactful for this team, it could cause them to be on the lower end of that. Possibly 6-6 to 7-5, but yeah, I think Virginia has no problem making a bowl game next season once again. I think they could definitely go higher than that, possibly win the division, because yeah, once again, their division is kind of a mess. But yeah, certainly for Virginia, I think, yep, once again, they got a chance to make the ACC championship game once again. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Let me know whether you think Virginia will be better or worse. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching once again. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I will see you all later.